Welcome to Last Bowl Boxing special with, I'll describe him as a legend, Rick Glazer, joined us from over the pond. Good evening, Rick. Good afternoon.
Hello, Carl. Hello, Andy. Glad to be back. Haven't been on here in a long time, but it's always, you guys always fire away with good questions, and that's the way it is. So fire away.
Yeah, we're going to put it on you tonight, Rick. We're going to put it on you. So I'll hand over to Andy for the first question. So, Andy, over to you.
Good evening, Rick. It's great to have you on, mate.
Thank you.
There's only really one place we can start, and that's with the Turki Al Sheikh influence Riyadh season coming into boxing. First and foremost, Rick, first question straight off the bat, is it good for boxing?
Absolutely. Anytime you have a person that's personally interested in boxing and he actually enjoys the fights, enjoys the fighters, and likes the camaraderie, and has the money to put up, it's a no-brainer. It's helping getting the big fights again. We would have never seen Baturbiev and Bivol. We would have never seen some of these fights happening. So yeah, absolutely, it's great for boxing.
Obviously, Rick, coming on to the boxing side, which I know you've got an interest in, what are your thoughts on Turkey dropping the pay-per-view prices to $20?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's going to bring back the general sporting fan, not just diehard boxing fans. The problem with pay-per-view is the diehard boxing fans know how to steal it. The general public doesn't, but it's so expensive, the general public's not turning in. So now when you lower the prices like that, you're going to get people watching, and it's a no-brainer, especially in this era of inflation where a lot of people are staying home on a Saturday night. They're not going out like they used to because it's so expensive for a husband and wife to go out. So now he stays home. He buys the pay-per-view for $20, gets pizza, chicken wings, a couple beers. All of a sudden, it's $80 and not $200 to go out and have a good time. So he's watching boxing, the family's watching, they got the pizza, the wings, the beer, and it's a no-brainer.
So, Rick, where does that leave PBC, bearing in mind they're still charging?
Well, they're going to be in trouble with them being basically pay-per-view only. They're going to be in trouble because, they're still going to be at that $89.90, $89.95, $79.95, $74.99 platform. They're going to be in trouble. They are going to be in trouble.
Rick, if they don't get on board, it seems like Turkey's trying to bring all of these big promoters in. He's obviously got he's got Matchroom with Eddie Hearn. He's got Queensbury with Frank Warren. Even Ben Shalom with Boxer from the UK. Oscar De La Hoya seems to be joining the party. PBC, for whatever reason, don't seem to be in that little link at the minute. Are they in danger of getting left behind?
They've been left behind a long time ago. This is a company that started out doing 40 shows a year, then went down to 30, then went down to 24, then went down to 18, and they're down to 6 this year. So they've been left behind for a while now, and they're in trouble. There's no question about it, and they are getting left behind. Turkey put a couple of their guys on the show in LA on the Crawford show, but they're not playing ball. They don't get it. They don't, and they shouldn't. Turkey should put them out of business. They've been a cancer on boxing for years, and Al Heyman's been a cancer on boxing for years, and they're the same thing. And it's time for them to go bye-bye. And they've never, they started out with the free boxing platform, then they went to pay-per-view, and now they never even do a free boxing show. It's all pay-per-view. They keep saying they have one coming up. Nobody's seen it yet. And they're going to do the Tim Tszyu fight. It's not going to be pay-per-view. Well, that's because No Limit, the promoter of Tim Tszyu, is paying for the event. So they're just piggybacking off that is what they're doing.
Just coming on to Turki Al Sheikh again, Rick, if you was Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Ben Shalom and Oscar De La Hoya, would you be slightly worried? Because does he really need him moving forward?
I wouldn't be worried about it if I was anybody. I don't think I believe that he wants to get everybody together and make the best fights, put up the money to make the best fights, and give the people a reason to watch the fights, which is the best fights, and dropping the pay-per-view costs. As far as the promoters working together or him leaving the promoters by the wayside, he's bringing everybody together. Why does he have intent to do that? You know, he'd be if he was doing that, he'd be what they call a divide and conquer. And he's not dividing and conquer. He's trying to bring people together. I mean, he's got Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn talking. Nobody ever thought that would get done.
No.
Right?
Right. What does it mean for fighters that are not on Riyadh season though? Because you've got some, let's say, average fighters now commanding or wanting big purses.
Well, we'll see what happens. There's guys like me that are bringing fighters to companies like Golden Boy that will make it to the Riyadh season. So people want to call me. I'm available and to do business and bring fighters to Golden Boy. They'll be on Riyadh season. That's all there is to it. It's that simple.
Rick, just playing devil's advocate a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious. I mean, it's obvious what Turki Al-Sheikh's done, bringing promoters together, putting fights on that would never have happened. We would never have seen Tyson Fury against Usyk. We'd never seen the undisputed fight that we haven't seen since the end of the 90s. We probably wouldn't get to see Joshua and Fury, which is likely to happen maybe next year. But just playing devil's advocate, is there any concern that having one person with such control that it's going to completely change the dynamic of what boxing is?
Well, I think that needed to happen the way things were going. I hate to say that, but the way things are going, it needed to happen. So I don't have a problem with it. It needed to happen. It needed to happen. I can't be more explicit than that.
Well, let me try. Is it to remove the bullshit and the politics that were preventing big fights happening previously?
What was that? I'm sorry?
So does Turkey remove all the bullshit and all the politics between promoters?
Well, it was three things from stopping the big fights from happening. Okay, the promoters' egos. Okay, the promoters not getting along, promoters' egos, and the promoter wanting too much for himself, and the fighters wanting too much for himself. Now, all those things are cured because the money's there to soothe everybody's egos, everybody's pockets, and the fighters' pockets. So now everybody's happy.
And individual broadcasters wanting a specific fight solely on their network as well.
Well, yeah, he's spreading it around. That's correct. Everybody's getting a piece. He's doing it. Listen, I have no complaints. I'm a believer in this guy. I'm an absolute believer. I can see how I was at the show when he was at the Mandalay Bay at the show August 10th with Virgil Ortiz and Sergey Boachuk. And I could see the excitement in him. He likes boxing. That's all there is to it. It's not just shaking hands and being a zombie. He loves it. He's pointing and at the fights and like this and that. He's showing, a left hook, and he's using the left hook, and he's excited and he likes boxing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I enjoyed watching him. Matter of fact, I made the comment to my wife who was sitting next to me. I said, this guy's as enthusiastic as I am. It's pretty scary. So, and I said it jokingly, of course, but I'm enthusiastic and so is he. I loved it.
Rick, just talking about the product over in Saudi Arabia, there's been some negative comments over in the UK about the atmosphere and the lack of it when there's been big fight nights.
Well, excuse me for interrupting. Okay, let's stop there for one reason. If you watch the Inouye fights, the crowd sits there on their hands. They don't jump up and down. They don't cheer. They don't throw their hands in the air. Okay, and it's not like a UK crowd or a Brit crowd. It's a cultural thing, and that's not going to change. Okay, you're not going to get Japanese people to jump up and down. They nod their head up and down when they enjoy something. They don't yell and scream. They're all dressed the same, for Christ's sakes. Okay, all the people in Japan when they go to a fight. I mean, one guy looks like the next guy sitting next to him looks like the next guy sitting next to him. The whole row looks the same. They all look like they're related. Okay, and they're all from the same family, just the way it is. It's a cultural thing, and that's what's happening in Saudi Arabia too. It's not like in America and UK where they're jumping up and down. It's a completely different vibe.
Another negative comment in the UK regarding fight nights. We're a little concerned at British fight nights that we're getting less fight nights than we have done previous years because they're going over to the Riyadh season.
They're not doing that many shows over there, guys. They're probably going to do 4 or 5 shows all year long. And one of them is Golden Boy show, which wouldn't have been in the UK either. They're fighting a boxer's fighter, the cruiserweight unification bout. And, they're not taking away that many fights. I mean, yeah, they took away Usyk and Fury, but to make that fight, that had to be on a neutral playing surface. Usyk wasn't probably going to go over there. That's what part of the problem had been.
What I would say, though, Rick, like the Wembley card this Saturday, it's that strong a card that you could argue going down the card, they would have headlined cards in the UK on their own, if that makes sense. So it does take some fight nights.
Oh, from that standpoint, of course, absolutely. But that's what these mega fights are bringing, everybody together in one night. I get it. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. The fighters are getting work and stuff like that. They're happy. There's 96,000 people going to be sitting there. Yeah, and they'll be cheering. Trust me. Not like the Japanese who keep nodding their heads.
Rick, just one more from me on Riyadh season, Turkey Al Sheikh. What do you make of the 5v5 concept, the promoter v promoter?
The what concept?
The 5v5. You know, the Matchroom versus.
Well, it was. I mean, to say the least, Frank Warren's fighters put the hurt on Eddie Hearn's fighters 5-0. I mean, the results speak for themselves. And then some of the guys told me, well, that was Eddie's second stringers. I said, what are you talking about? You're the world champion. Ray Ford losing Nick Paul. What are you talking about? Second stringers. Okay. And the week before, Anthony Karachi beat Eddie's fighter, the guy that was supposed to fight Shakur now, whatever his name is there.
Yeah, the Welsh guy, wanted Cordina.
Yeah, Joe Cordina, right. So, I mean, listen, Frank, you got to understand something. Frank Warren's fighters will win 7 out of 10 fighters with Eddie Hearn's fighters because Frank knows more about boxing than Eddie. He knows what fighters he can put in with what fighters. That's his business. Eddie don't know. Eddie just throws shit against the wall and hopefully it sticks. Now, if you listen to Eddie, he knows a lot, but Frank's the master.
I'm a massive Eddie Hearn fan, Rick. It kills me to hear you talking like that.
Well, no, listen, I've said he's been a great promoter in the UK. He's been a failure in the United States. And in the meantime he's not going to outthink Frank Warren when it comes to who's going to win fights. That's not happening.
Do you not think he's making ground in the US though with his signing to Bruce Ellis?
No, he's not making ground at all.
The 2 top talents, though, Rick, in the US. Why?
Because he's overpaid both guys drastically. That's not making ground. Go sign fighters and match other promoters' money that they're paying, that they'll pay the fighter, and then that's doing something. He's not matching anybody. He's blowing other places' prices out, and he's playing with other people's money. Any dick can do that. Any swinging dick can do that.
What about if he lands Shakur the Tank fight? Does he deserve credit then?
That isn't happening in this lifetime or the next.
Okay.
As long as Tank is with Heyman, that fight ain't happening.
While we're talking, Rick, while we're talking about Shakur, I saw a tweet that you put out a while ago after he'd been pulled from the Riyadh card with an injury, and you were maybe questioning slightly the fact that he pulled out with a hand injury. No.
I'm not questioning his hand was injured. That was no doubt about that in my mind. That's a misrepresentation on people's minds. I didn't mean it that way. But when a fighter does break his hand, it's a puncher, not a guy that can't break a grade. Now, people will say, well, Floyd broke his hand. No, Floyd broke his hand when he was a puncher at 130 pounds. Yeah. And after he moved up, he couldn't punch anymore. Joe Calzaghe, the same thing happened to him. He was a puncher before he broke his hand. Then when he broke his hand, he was no longer a puncher. So, but most of the time, it's punchers that break their hands, not guys that are feather-fisted.
Just out of interest, Rick, Shakur's clearly clearly very skilled.
Oh no, he's the most skilled fighter pound for pound and he's the most skilled fighter pound for pound in boxing. There's not even a question about that.
Sorry, do you think he is active enough? Do you think he gets out enough?
He what?
Do you think he's active enough? Does he fight enough?
No, he should be fighting 3 times a year, not twice.
He will do with Eddie.
What's that?
He will do with Eddie Hearn.
Well, he didn't want to do a top rank. They offered him 3 fights a year. So let's get that straight.
Is that Rick? Is that a fighter's mindset that's wrong there? Is it that he's getting paid too much on the fights?
Everybody does it. They're doing it for different reasons. Some are cycling on and off steroids. So some will do it for that reason. Shakur's not one of those. But why Shakur himself does it? Maybe I don't know. I can't answer. I don't know him that well to answer that question. But some of them do it for different reasons.
Rick, just getting. Go on, Carl. Sorry.
No, you go, Andy. Go on.
Just getting back to the Riyadh season. We've obviously got a massive show next weekend. First one in the UK. Headlined AJ against Daniel Dubois. We've seen massive improvements from Daniel Dubois. AJ looks like he's back to his mean best. How do you see that fight going?
It's a weird fight. It's a fight that Daniel Dubois could walk across the ring and clip Anthony Joshua, or Anthony Joshua will take him out. So it's one of those fights I don't see going the distance. They're both massive punchers and they're both chinny.
Come on, Rick. Come on. If you got your last dollar in your pocket, Rick, and you had to place it on one of the fighters to win, who would you go for?
Oh, I would say Joshua wins. But he could get clipped. That's one thing about Dubois. If he's got anything at all, it's punching power.
He's shown a lot of heart as well in recent fights, Daniel Dubois.
What's that?
He's shown a lot of heart in recent fights.
He showed heart?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he has. He's come on in that department all of a sudden. I don't know if it's new trainers or something. A light went off in his head or what. But for a little while there, he didn't look like he had the biggest ticker, and all of a sudden he's got a big ticker. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I think that might be Don Charles' trainer, who's done a lot of work with him mentally, I would suggest.
I would hope to say that's the reason. I hope to say that Don Charles is a good trainer and he's doing a good job with him, because he has improved. There's no question about that.
So keeping on the heavyweight themes, and Rick, Deontay Wilder, I've seen you been quite vocal about him on social media. He's going to come out and have another fight, isn't it?
It's what? I'm sorry?
He's going to come out for one more fight, Deontay Wilder, isn't it?
Well, he's going to get a tune-up fight in Alabama, and then he's going to probably venture himself over to Saudi Arabia and get knocked the fuck out and sent back home. You know what I mean? It's one of those deals. I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to get one more fight in Alabama, some small fight, just something to put on and just, dust the cobwebs off, fight locally for the fans, a rah-rah night for Deontay Wilder, put him in with a stone stiff. He could knock out one round and then go over to Saudi Arabia and get his ass beat down again and, get his lights put out.
So there's nothing left for Deontay, You think he's on the back nine, to use your phrase, or in the clubhouse?
Well, he should be in the clubhouse. Okay, he's more than the back nine. He's shot. See, the back nine is like Canelo's on the back nine. He's slightly on the back nine now. Okay, that's the only big name fighter I could say right now that's slightly on the back nine. The other guys are quote shot. Some guys are completely shot. That means basically that they're not only shot, but furthermore they have no chin. Their legs are so bad that they have no chin left, and that means that those fighters are completely shot. So Deontay Wilder is completely shot. He's got no chin left. He's got reflexes way down. He can't pull the trigger anymore. Whether he physically can't pull the trigger or mentally he can't pull the trigger, I don't know. He might be too scared to throw because you get countered, get knocked the fuck out. I don't know that, but he's completely shot.
Rick, did that third Tyson Fury fight take the fight out of Wilder?
Oh, there's no question about it. There's 2 beatdowns in a row like that. Absolutely. I mean, he was never the same. He was never the same after that second fight. The first fight, he was good in the second fight with Fury. I'm sorry, the third fight. It was the third fight. I'm sorry, the first time he got knocked out, he wasn't that bad. He wasn't completely shot. After that third fight, when he got knocked out the second time, he's done. That was it.
Would it be worth changing trainer from Malik Scott? I mean, Malik Scott, is it, you know, he's coming for a bit of criticism.
No. It's nothing to do with training. He just doesn't. It's over. He's 38 years old. His body is wore down. His mind is wore down. Everything is wore down. It's game's over. He's wide and looping with his punches. He's pushing a lot of punches now. It's over.
Rick, staying with heavyweight boxing and staying with US heavyweight boxing, just a question I've had on my mind for quite some time now. What's happened to US heavyweight boxing?
They go into football, they go into basketball, they go into all the other sports today. They don't go into boxing anymore. You know, you go to college now. Most of these kids go to college now. It's not like it was years ago where they went to prison, then they started boxing. When they were in prison, they come out and like Mike Tyson, not Mike Tyson, what's his name? Sonny Liston, and those times are over with. You know, Jumbo Cummings, and there's a whole bunch of them like that. You know, Ron Lyle. But it's a different era today, and they go out to college and they play football, and they go out, they play basketball. Very few play baseball. Only 7.2% of African Americans are in Major League Baseball over here. But they do go into football and basketball, and that's big. And it's a different era today. A lot of them turn to the streets. You know,
Sorry, Cole. The big hope that you look like you had was Jared Anderson.
Yeah.
Now he was knocking people out.
He's not a serious guy. He's too much of a jerk off. Just is. He's just not a serious guy. He's got too many issues outside the ring.
Oh, has he?
He was your next big hope, though, right? A lot of pressure.
He's turning out to be the next, the next big flop is what he's turned out to be. He just doesn't have it mentally. You got to want to do this. You got to not. He's made easy dollars, and everything was wonderful. And now he gets in his first real fight. He gets his ass blown out because he doesn't take himself seriously. He doesn't take it seriously. He doesn't train right. What he thinks is training hard is nothing compared to what Usyk does and Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois do and Tyson Fury. One thing about Tyson Fury, he can be a clown and be goofy and shit like that in between fights. But when he goes in the training camp, that motherfucker clamps down and is serious. I don't care what anybody says.
Just coming on to Tyson Fury, take on to it perfectly. We've not spoken since the Usyk fight. What were your thoughts on that fight?
He could have went either way. He just didn't get the decision. It was, the knockdown was obviously the difference in the fight, but it was a great fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again on December 21st. I was disappointed Fury didn't win because I think Fury winning was better for boxing, but and better for Frank Warren. But I guess nowadays it really doesn't matter. As long as it was a great fight, they do it over again. So what the hell?
Do you think Tyson Fury took his eye off the ball, messing around with his arms behind his back, blah, 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 during the fight? Took it a bit easy during them early rounds?
He was too clownish in the ring. He wasn't professional enough. People have disdain for that, the judging. Some of the judges have disdain for that because they're older and stuff like that, and they don't like that kind of stuff because they came up in an era when boxing was more, when the fighters were more serious. And I think that hurt him badly in the fight. I also think the knockdown, of course, hurt him. But I think that Usyk surprised him because he wasn't as weak as he thought he'd be. He was strong compared to what he thought he was going to be. And now that's what basically happened. But I think he's capable of winning the rematch, Fury, and we'll go from there. Let's see if there's a third fight.
Just on a bit of a side note, Rick, obviously you was heavily involved in boxing in the 90s, and we've had a lot of debates on this show regarding Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk would have been able to live with the top echelon of boxing in the 90s. Where would you put them?
I think they would. I think they would have been able to. I think they would have been able to. I don't go by that. I think the other fighters. I think the other fighters today, the welterweights and all that, the only one that could have hung with before that in the 70s and 80s with the Kings. I think Terrence Crawford's the only one that would have hung, only welterweight that would have hung with those guys. I think that Lennox Lewis was a great fighter. I think Fury would have matched up well with him because he's got a great jab and he's got a high ring IQ and very good speed, and he's big himself. I think that Joshua would have been at a little bit of a disadvantage because of his style if he fought a Lennox Lewis. And I think he would have been a little bit disadvantaged, but Lewis, it could be that Joshua hit him and Lewis has to get up off the deck. So you don't know, but those fighters, Joshua, Fury, and Usyk could have competed with those guys. There's no question about that.
Interesting. And would you say Tyson Fury's on the back nine a little bit, Rick?
I can't judge that off of one fight because Usyk is a really good fighter himself. I don't know if Usyk is just that good or what Fury is on the back nine. Let's put it this way to you. He's been dropped like 9 or 10 times in his career. So for him to get dropped one time didn't surprise me at all.
Yep. Rick, just on the back of this, you've obviously got this second fight. If that goes 1-1, they're likely to have a third. But if
you think that they would, but maybe there's no contractual, and he goes on to a Joshua fight for what is undisputed again. I don't know that, but I would think the Joshua Fury fight is much bigger than Usyk and Fury.
Where does that take place, Rick?
Where?
Yeah,
I would say Wembley.
Right, interesting.
I think both of them. I think both fighters would say, and I think that Turki Al-Sheikh would go along with when both fighters say, "Come on, we want to have it here." They might have a press stop in Saudi Arabia or something like that, or some kind of festivity over there leading up, announcing it or something. But I think the fight's going to be. It would be in Wembley. I would believe. Jesus Christ.
Who'd you see winning that, Rick?
I don't know. I'd have to see Fury. I'd have to see Joshua fight next and Fury fight next to make that determination. It's too futuristic right now.
Do you think Ben Davidson's done a great job with AJ up to now, Rick?
100. Listen. I've always been a big believer of Ben Davidson. For years I've been, for quite a while now, and I've always believed in the guy. He doesn't. The problem with Ben Davidson, he doesn't look like a trader. When you look what a trader is supposed to look like, it ain't Ben Davidson. So, he looks more like what he looks more like. He looks more like a tennis coach.
Yeah,
or a golf caddy, right, guys?
Yeah. He did some great work with Devin Haney, though, didn't he? I think
that's exactly. Listen, he's an excellent trainer. There's not even I'm a big believer in the guy. I totally believe in Ben Davidson. But like I said, he gets a lot of abuse because he doesn't look like a boxing trainer, and he doesn't talk like one either. You'd think he was a tennis coach or a tennis coach or a professional professional golfing caddy.
I personally think he's made Derek James look a bit stupid with the work that he's done with AJ. That clearly Derek James.
Well, I've never believed in Derek James as a trainer, so that wouldn't be hard to convince me.
Rick, moving on, Rick. If that's
no. Over here it's called moving forward. So keep going.
Okay, all right. So last weekend we've just had it. Canelo Alvarez over in the States. You mentioned earlier on you think is slightly on the back nine. What do you think he has left in terms of years? And is there any real competition left for him at super middleweight?
Well, the guy that wants to fight him is Crawford. So, yeah, I would say he's got at least one fight left, that 1 or 2 fights right there.
Does that even make sense, though, with the weight difference?
Yeah, he's going to offer him probably two times as much money he's ever made in his career for one fight.
Oh no,
Probably probably $100 million fight for him.
I get that it makes money sense, Rick. Does it make boxing sense? Is it?
Yeah, it does because Crawford is a pound for pound great. Okay, I mean, people weren't complaining when Jamal Charlo fought him. Why are they complaining when Crawford's going to fight him?
The challenge Crawford has got, Rick, that he hasn't got a dance partner, has he?
Who Canelo?
No, Crawford. He needs Canelo as a dance partner.
No, he's got dance. He's got offered fights. He can go fight Virgil Ortiz, but he would make a fraction of what he would make.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What weight do you put that Crawford Canelo fight at, Rick? If you was matchmaking,
it's going to be 168. Crawford said he'd go up to 168.
Yeah, there's no way Canelo's going down now at this stage in his career, is there?
No, I don't see it. And Crawford will go up to one. Listen, there's no reason for Canelo not to take this fight. If he's so small, then he's not dangerous and he's not a puncher. If he's that small and all this stuff, don't forget now. They said that James Toney couldn't beat Evander Holyfield. He was too small. He was a blown-up middleweight and all that other kind of shit. And look what happened. He stopped Holyfield.
Yeah, well, Usyk's had it thrown at him for years, hasn't it? You know, blown up cruiserweight, this, that.
Right. Right. Yep.
The other one that's left for Canelo that's a little bit of a scratch there that he can't get over is the Bivol loss.
Stay away.
I wouldn't, if I was him, I wouldn't fight Bivol. It's not the right style. He's got a good jab, a great chin. He's got great footwork, and he's too complete of a fighter for Canelo to beat him at this stage. If he couldn't beat him 2 years ago, he ain't beat him next year.
And just continuing the Bivol theme, obviously he's fighting Beterbiev. And let's not sit on the fence, Rick. Who's your money on? Who's your money on?
Well, I don't like a fighter that's going to be 40 years old shortly and that's consistently injured. That's the kind of fight you can get into the fight and his shoulder pulls out in the 4th round or some kind of crazy shit like that. So I like Bivol for that reason. But if Beterbiev knocked him dead, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah,
but I like Bivol. If I was putting money on it, I'd bet on Bivol because of the extenuating circumstances of inactivity, injury, and age of Beterbiev.
I think Beterbiev is on the back 9.
He is, definitely. 100%. Not even a question.
Has there ever been, Rick, a poorer super middleweight division than we got at the minute?
Has there ever been what?
Poor standard, the super middleweight division compared to yesteryear.
It's just, it's one of those kind of things that, one guy is dominating, the one guy that he wouldn't fight moved up and couldn't really, it's tough for him to make the weight. That the other guy, David Morrell, he moved up now. There's not much there.
Why do you think it is?
Why did the Benavidez fight never happen?
Yeah. What else you ask?
Crawford wouldn't. Canelo wouldn't fight him.
Obviously now Benavidez has moved up to light heavy. It's never going to happen, is it?
No, not. It's not. It wasn't happening when he was at 68. It's not going to happen now. He's at 75.
Is that a commercial decision, Rick? Was there not enough money in it?
I think he thought it was too tough a fight where he couldn't make any more than his standard $37 million. So he figured, fuck it, I ain't doing that.
Just one more from me on Canelo. Are we in danger because he's the ticket, he's the money man, he's the guy that everybody wants to fight? Are we in danger that he's the one with all the power? A little bit like the way
it's been like that for years. I didn't know that was in doubt.
Like Floyd Mayweather was at the latter end of his career.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Of course, absolutely. I didn't know that was a question.
Well, obviously not for you. Clearly is for me. But I mean, does that start getting boring though, right? I mean, I'm starting to lose interest in Canelo fights now.
If he fights Crawford, I'll be happy because that's his biggest challenge out there that he'd actually consider fighting. So, but I think that Benavidez is a bigger challenge, but he's not going to consider fighting him. See, he can make massive money fighting Crawford. He can't make hardly any more money fighting Benavidez. So that's the difference. One's 35, 37 million. One could be 100 million.
Yeah.
And maybe Berlanga needs a bit of a mention as well, Rick, because I thought he performed okay on Saturday night.
I had my tweet leading up to the fight a couple days before was everybody got such low expectations, and he's going to do all right. He was better than people thought he was going to be. I had said that all along.
Maybe throw in with Caleb Plant next. He's
either Plant or Jaime. I'd rather see Jaime Munguia with because Jaime Munguia is not shot, and I think Plant is shot, and I think his legs are gonzo. That's why he was down the deck 3 times the other night. I knocked to the canvas only once from a punch to the shoulder. By the way, Joe Goosen erred the other night, folks. Okay, Joe Goosen said, "Well, it wasn't a knockdown. He didn't get hit in the head. That's considered a body shot. As long as it's hit in a legal area and you go down from the shot, it's a body shot. As long as it's not to that area." So the fact that he's got no legs, he was on the canvas 3 times because he has no legs. So that's the story there. So he's shot. He's still got hand speed. Don't get me wrong, but he's got no legs left.
I'm not sure about Munguia. I don't think he's got enough pop at super middleweight to keep opponents off.
Oh yeah, he does. That guy's is a great fight. Him and Berlanga would be a great fight. Much better than him and Plant. Plant moves around too much. He tries to be slick, and if he gets hit one good shot from what's his name, he'll be moving around more and more. If what he called can land a good shot. And that might not be a good fight. Munguia is guaranteed to be a good fight.
Rick, if Canelo was to hang his gloves up in the next year or two, no one would be surprised if that was the case because of the stage of his career. Who's the heir to the throne? Who's coming up that you think can take that crown away?
Nobody that I can see right now.
That probably answers Carl's question earlier from the division, then, don't it?
There's not much there. Maybe Munguia and Belanga's would be the second biggest fight. If Canelo retired, Berlanga and Munguia would probably be the biggest fight in that division.
Just looking over this side of the pond for a minute, Rick. What are your thoughts on Wardley versus Clark? Great first fight.
It was an incredible first fight. Guys didn't show a lot of boxing skills, but they showed a lot of bravado. It was a fun fight, and I'm looking forward to it again.
And what about Ben Shalom, who runs Boxer over in the UK? He's coming for a bit of criticism over at this side of the pond because people are comparing him to Eddie Hearn. Is that a little bit unfair?
Well, I've offered to do business with him. I wrote him a nice letter, and I never even got a response. So whatever, if Ben Shalom went out of business tomorrow, you wouldn't get any tears shed from me. When he's not smart enough to reach out to me, who's a veteran of this business of 33 years, who does business with 51 promoters and corporations that do boxing around the world, and daily. And if he's not doing business with me, then shame on him. So I don't feel sorry for the guy.
And just moving on to another broadcaster, DAZN. What are your thoughts on the old Misfits venture that DAZN are going on? One of Andy's favourite topics.
I'm not into it. I don't watch it. It's garbage to me, and it's stupid and not my thing.
And what about Mike Tyson?
I knew you was a smart man.
What about Mike Tyson jumping in with Jake Paul? Another disgrace in my view.
He shouldn't. Nobody should license Mike Tyson for anybody but a marijuana dispensary.
And you mentioned on social media that DAZN need to get back to supporting hardcore fans. Do you think DAZN have lost their way a little bit with the content?
Oh no, there's no question they've lost their way. But I think with Turki Al-Sheikh, now dropping the pay-per-view prices down to $20. I think it's going to help the zone a lot. And I think that I like the zone's concept, okay, but they've lost their way. It's like the game you couldn't shoot straight.
So what would you do with them, Rick? Just put some more Thursday night shows on with quality?
I would do a lot of things, but if I sat down with the zone, somebody would pay me for that advice.
Yeah, good point. It's a fair point.
You know, but they're not. They should be smart enough to sit down with me, but they're not, because they listen to Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
Rick,
you know, they're listening to somebody that has a financial interest in a conflict of interest, where I would not have one.
Somebody's picking that tab up somewhere, though, aren't they, Rick? Rumor allegedly they're deep into the red, the zone, so they can't carry on operating at a loss like allegedly they are doing.
I know how to cure a big percentage of their problems. Okay, a huge percentage of their problems, but they're not talking to me. And if they would pay me, I would talk to them like I do anybody else that pays me. And I give people very good advice. That's why people keep calling me. That's why I don't take jobs. I don't take salaries. I've been doing this for 33 years, and I live very comfortably. My wife's driving a brand new S500, the big S500 Mercedes. She shops on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, and she, you know, we live a life of luxury because of boxing, just because of my wits and my negotiation skills.
I hope this translates into American, but you are punching way above your league with your wife.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I am.
It's not a compliment for you, Rick, but it is for your wife.
No, listen. Can I tell you something? Well, do you think I was going to marry somebody below me? I couldn't get that low, could I?
Good point.
I couldn't find anybody that low.
No comment, Rick. No comment on that one.
Rick, I just want to get your thoughts on a controversial incident that happened a while back. It was dubbed as Glovegate. The old situation with Terence Crawford and his gloves in the corner in the David Avanesian fight. I know you're quite friendly with David Avanesian's manager, Neil Marsh.
Very good friend. Let me just identify. I'm very good friends with Neil. I'm very friendly with Bomac, the trainer of Crawford. I'm very friendly with Bomac's advisor, and I'm very friendly with Crawford's advisor. I'm very friendly with Crawford's attorney. So I'm good friends with all those people involved. So it's, you know, I will tell you like it is. What happened? He got faulty gloves. That's all there is to it. You think that Crawford had to do anything illegal to beat David as of no.
No, that's not what I was getting at. I was more going along the lines of why was the fight not halted and the gloves changed?
Well, that I don't know. That I can't. I wasn't there. I don't know. I never looked into it. I don't know. But it is a great question. I just don't have the answer to it because I didn't look into it that deep. All I know is the gloves breaks. Sometimes they rip, they're torn. It just happens sometimes.
Just another one on Crawford and bringing in Boots Ennis into the equation. There's a lot of people, and I'm one of them, that thinks that Boots Ennis is the next king, following Crawford in Crawford's footsteps. It looks like he's going to be the next king to rule for as long as he wants at welter. Should he be chasing the Crawford fight?
No, I wouldn't. If I had Ennis, I wouldn't allow him in the same building as Crawford, let alone the same ring.
He's nowhere near ready for it, no?
Do you not think he beats him then, Rick? No.
What's that?
Do you not think that Ennis beats him?
No, Ennis doesn't beat him. No way, no how. Not a shot.
See, the narrative in the UK is that Crawford won't fight Boots Ennis. Because he believes he gets.
There's no money. There's no money. Who's going to put up the money to pay for that fight?
Yeah.
Eddie should send him an offer. He'll fight him at 54. We'll send him an offer, but he won't be able to pay. Turki Al-Sheikh wants one fight for Crawford that they're salivating over is the Canelo fight.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on Boots Ennis signing with Matchroom?
Well, it's a good decision for Boots if he was going to get paid that kind of money that Eddie's paying him, that nobody else would have paid him over here. So it was a good deal for him.
Bit of an issue with Matchroom losing the purse bid for his IBF fight against.
Yeah, I don't know if Eddie did that intentionally or what went down there. I really don't know, but you know, I think that you're trying to call a guy a star. He just did a big crowd, and then you can bring him back, and then you lose the purse bid. You look like a shortstop.
What does Eddie need to do in America, Rick? Because he's been over there a while now. He launched Matchroom USA.
Another guy that didn't call me and ask me for advice that I could get paid for it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but let me just explain about Eddie Hearn and I. Everybody thinks I dislike Eddie Hearn. No, he's a very personable guy. He's just full of shit, and he's a fucking hypocrite. And I'm not into hypocrites. I think hypocrites are like the lowest form of life. Lou DiBella's a hypocrite. This guy's a hypocrite. This guy blasts Jarrell Miller for the drug thing, and then when his own fighters get caught, he's coddling them. Like when even though Dillian White didn't have a contract with him, he was basically the house fighter when he fought Rivas. And Oscar Rivas, and then Conor Benn. I mean, he coddles these guys and protects them when they get caught on steroids. But when it's somebody else's fighter, he fucking goes to town. Fuck him.
I didn't
when I had never met Eddie Hearn. He came up to me, cold turkey. He knows what I look like. He came right up to me at the two weigh-ins in between for the Haney what's the name? Haney fight with Ryan Garcia. And I'm sitting there in a chair. He comes up to me, "Hey, Rick," right, like that, right, right in front of me, right, like I'm supposed to stand up. I was slouched down in this folding chair. I looked up at him and go, "Hello," just like that, like I would anybody else. He just rubs me the wrong way. Not my kind of guy. That doesn't mean he wouldn't be fun to go out with for dinner or something like that. But as far as business goes, he's just a hypocrite.
And what about Frank Warren then, Rick? Totally different experience.
Frank's got a bunch of buffoons around him. George, his son George, Andy, and that Francis. He's got a good matchmaker in that Steve Furness. But Frank's a legend with 3 buffoons around him. You know, I guess he can't help what he raised, 2 of them, and he basically raised Andy in the boxing business. So, you know, if nobody treats people worse than that Andy Ailing. He's a piece of shit. I told him that recently. He knows how I feel about him. It's not a secret. But Frank's a legend. He's a great boxing guy, and he's up and down as far as where he is in boxing, as far as how much money that he makes. But when he makes it big. And he's done well. He's been in boxing for 44 years now, since 1980. So he started out as a manager, went to promotion, and he's an iconic figure in boxing. And he's a Hall of Famer, and I got nothing negative to say about Frank himself. But between George, Andy, and Francis, they can get lost in a phone booth if they can fit inside of it.
And what about De La Hoya with his antics at the minute on social media?
Listen, I love Oscar. I think he's great. He treats me unbelievably. His president of the company, Eric Gomez, we have an unbelievable relationship. But I don't, just because we have a great relationship, Oscar and I, doesn't mean I agree with everything that he does. You know, super guy. I think the world of him. If he asked me to get on a plane right now and fly somewhere for him and see somebody, I would do that. I like him that much, but as far as some of the things he does, that's not what I would do. But then again, he wouldn't get on social media maybe and do some of the things that I do. So everybody does their own thing. You know, I'll put it this way to you. I'm not dancing around in a thong, but he's got the body to do it. And maybe if I had his body, I'd be doing it. So I don't know that.
Rick, just circling back a little bit to our first topic and Turki Al-Sheikh, there's a lot of rumours that the way he's getting involved, the way he's got involved in boxing and the money that's involved and all the promoters he's bringing together, There's rumours that he's trying to bring some sort of a boxing league together, or a UFC style.
I don't think it's going to come to that. I think the fighters are going to reject it too much. Remember, the UFC started out like it was, okay, from scratch.
Yeah.
The boxing's is a traditional sport with tradition, and I don't think boxing's going to go that way. I don't see it.
Something needs to change, though, doesn't it, Rick? Because
everything's got to change, but it's going to dropping pay-per-view fights $20 and stacking up pay-per-view shows with 5-6 great fights on it, showing giving exposure to a lot of different fighters from a lot of different ethnic backgrounds. It's going to help. Every bit's going to help worldwide, and with the zone in tow, between the zone and Turkey and the promoters getting on board, I think it's going to be great. I think it has the potential to be unbelievable, to be honest with you. The one negativity that I see is if they do a league, that's a negative. And the other negativity, if Turki Al-Sheikh all of a sudden pulls out and these fighters still expect to get big money for fights, then that could cause a problem. But as long as he stays in, there's not going to that problem is alleviated.
One thing you can't do though, Rick, you can't continue to overinflate purses, right? That's it's surely.
No, because I don't agree with you, because I don't agree, because if he wants to do it, he can. Remember, this is from a country; they're printing their own money.
But they're not stupid people either, Rick, right? They're still surely.
Well, wait, hold on. I didn't say they were stupid, but they're printing their own money. So if they just want 100 million more, they just go to the printing press. Hey, we need 100 million. Okay, we'll put you up on another one, and then it's not going to cause inflation in their country because they're spreading the money around the world.
Rick, the problem I see with that though, Rick, is that's great as long as he stays in the sport.
Right.
If he drops out of the sport, if he gets a bit bored with it, or
remember something. He's like the CEO of a company, and the company's a country. So maybe would they just replace him and get somebody else? That could be too. We don't know that. If he got bored of it or he got tired, we don't know anything. We're all guessing. We're all educated guessing. We're guessing, educated guessing. Some of us aren't so educated like me. I'm just going from what I can see and feel. I saw the guy. The guy was authentic as possible. When I saw, he was excited about the fights, fist pumping and jumping up and down and all excitement. I mean, when he was ringside for that Virgil Ortiz Bochuk fight, he was as excited as anybody in the building. I loved it. I thought it was great.
And to be fair, Rick, the guy's got boxing knowledge, right? When he's plucking fighters like Willie Hutchinson and putting them on cards, it shows he watches a lot of boxing.
Well, that's Frank Warren going to him and saying, "Hey, this is my guy. This is a good fight. Let's do this fight." So it's that. Yes, I agree, but that's a guy like Frank Warren having the moxie to do that too.
And would it be fair to say that Frank Warren's got more persuasion over Turkey than Eddie Hearn currently?
Well, I would hope he would. He's got way more experience and a better boxing mind than Eddie. Eddie's a good hustler and a good promoter. Frank's a better boxing guy. That was evident in the 5 for 5. 5 and 5 fights. That was pretty evident.
You're just on that. Were you a little bit surprised at the 5 people that Eddie Hearn picked? Because for me, I was when I first heard the concept, I was hoping it was going to be 5 British fighters against 5 British fighters, and that didn't happen.
Well, Eddie Hearn didn't have a heavyweight that would fight him that was available. The Chinese guy, Zhang, he is Hearn's fighter. I mean, Warren's fighter. So that one made sense to me. But I understand what you're saying about the concept, but it was really 5 fighters that were with him. But Wilder was a throw-in. Eddie's, come on, be on my team. They want a guy to fight Zhang, one of those deals. But, Eddie was responsible for the 5 guys he put in, and it was 5-0. And believe me, if they did it again, it'd be 4-1 or 5-0 with 5 more fights.
I think Zhilei Zhang's a problem for that heavyweight division, isn't he? Rick?
No, he's an excellent fighter. But it's weird about him is one fight he looks slow and one fight he looks fast. And it's not who he's fighting. It's just that it's the way he fights. I don't know why, but it's like that.
So obviously we're blessed with a lot of good fights coming up, Rick. So which fight are you looking forward to the most over the coming weeks? Is it this Saturday or is it Bivol versus Beterbiev?
Well, because of the skill level and the greatness of both fighters, Bivol and Beterbiev, I'm looking forward to that fight, knowing both guys have good chins and they're top fighters, where the other guys don't have. They've been beat recently, and they've got suspect chins, both guys. So I'm definitely looking forward to Beterbiev and Bivol, because that's really a pound for pound fight. That's two great fighters that are top 10 pound for pound type fighters. So yes, I'm looking for that. Just like I was looking forward to Bam Rodriguez and Sonny Edwards. Yeah. I'm a purist. Remember that.
I mean, Gallia 5 versus Sonny Edwards is going to be.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that fight too. I don't know what Sonny's got left after the Bam fight, but if he's what he was in the Bam, if he was prior to the Bam fight, I would think that that's a hell of a fight.
Yeah. Andy, anything left? Any other questions from you?
Just one, Rick. There's a cruiserweight unification fight made just recently. Zerdo against Chris Billum-Smith. For me, that's second and third in the division. The winner of that will obviously go on and fight the number one. How do you see that fight panning out?
I don't know. It's a good fight. Zordo's fast. He's left-handed. It's a tough fight. I don't know. Very, very, very tough fight.
That's the last one from me, Cole.
So that's one for me, Rick. Bit of a left field. Obviously, you started offering your services in boxing in 1991. What's different about the boxing landscape
Well, when I first got into boxing, and I started booking fighters in 92. 91 was more of a learning experience, and did a little business, but not like I did it started in 92. But the big difference is that you used to call up a fighter and the manager would say yes to a fight immediately after a minute of negotiations. How much for the fight? 20. We'll do it for 25. I can't pay 25. I'll do 22. I'll take it for 22.5. Okay, we got a deal. Today, I got to talk to the fighter, the manager's wife, the lawyer, the this, the that, the spot. Oh my God! And I'll get back to you in 48 hours. That's all you need to know.
Rick, sorry, I know I said that was my last one, but something's just popped in my head with you saying that. Is that the trouble with nowadays? Is that because the wrong people are making the decisions?
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and because the people don't have any balls. That's part of the problem. In other words, they don't know whether to say yes or no right there. They're not professionals like they used to be. So, well, I'll let you know. Let me think about it. Let me get back to you. Let me talk to the fighter, And because they give the fighters too much control today, and the trainers, the manager and the fighters give the trainer too much control today.
Did Mayweather start that, Rick? Floyd?
I don't know if he started it. I don't know. I can't say. He started the cherry picking, that's for sure. And the fighting once and twice a year. He started that for sure.
And just one other observation. Do fighters, and just to talk generally, not specifics, do fighters expect too big a purse these days?
Yeah, that's a part of it. They're fighting for too much money, and they don't need to fight as often and stuff like that. I'm going to leave you with a real quick story. We got 4 minutes to go here. I'm going to leave you a real quick story. The late Gary Russell Sr., the father of Gary Russell Jr., the former WBC featherweight champion, longtime WBC, who used to fight once a year, as we know, and he used to make us mandatory once a year. And Al Heyman said to him one day on the phone, he says, listen, I want my kid to fight more than once a year, Al. He says, yeah, but he says, if you fight twice a year, you have twice as much chance of losing.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know, guys.